I want to discuss now this outrageous and off-the-rails press conference that Trump held in the Oval Office. Since Trump started taking overtly anti-First Amendment actions, the latest is his FCC getting involved in trying to pressure ABC, which worked, into getting Kimmel off the air, and just tons of investigations and license threats and CBS, obviously that whole saga, etc. And what you'll hear from his defenders is, oh, no. Here's an excuse for that one. It's not just that Trump's trying to silence his critics. But what comes through in this press conference, among other topics, is Trump just admitting that. That's what he's admitting. So we'll get to that first. You'll notice Aaron Rupar pointed this out, but Trump now, I guess because he's insecure about the bruising on his hand, you can put this up, Jaden, is just doing the whole press conference like this. Like, you know when a little puppy sleeps with its paw over the other paw? He's just doing that the whole time to hide the severe bruising that supposedly, despite it also showing up on his left hand, you can take that down, being the outcome of handshaking. But here's the clip that really gets us going. You can't argue, you just can't, that Trump is doing right now anything other than violating the First Amendment for the sake of silencing his critics, and he admits it here.
George Slobodanopoulos had to pay $16 million to me because of what he said, and that's ABC. You had to pay more than that. Your network had to pay more than that. So I think it's very sad, but I think that reporting has to be at least accurate to an extent. Again, when somebody is given 97% of the stories are bad about a person, that's no longer free speech, that's no longer, that's just cheating. And they cheat. And they become really members of the Democrat National Committee. That's what
he says it. If there's one positive of Trump, it's that sometimes he's not, smart enough to not just admit what he's doing, because all of his defenders are out there trying to do this. Oh, it's way more complicated than you could understand why he did this lawsuit and that lawsuit and blocked this merger and got them to do this change to their broadcasting and pushed them to at fear of having their license revoked to fire that person. It's not because Trump's just trying to, in an authoritarian manner, get rid of his critics. And then he goes, you just can't talk 97% negative about me. Think about that. I mean, it's stunning. As you can see, I'm sitting for this portion of the show in a hotel room in Los Angeles. I still don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but it'll come out somewhat soon, a big debate of some sort. And so in that conversation, I was chatting with supporters of Trump, and so many of them have spent years saying they're First Amendment warriors, all to abandon that for Trump. And they're unwilling. We'll get to some examples of people being willing who were previous supporters of him. But there's, I would say most people who are in Trump's camp are apologizing for what he's been doing to the First Amendment. Then we continue to this press conference.
And, for you to stand there and act so innocent and ask me a question like that. But look, you paid a big price because you were dishonest, John. The reason I won that lawsuit was because you were dishonest. You were proven to be dishonest. And so you can't sit back and just say, oh, well, what do you think? Like you're some wonderful person. You're not a wonderful person. Frankly, you're a terrible reporter. You know it, and so do I. Okay. Here's what we're going to do.
It's a little hectic there. In the last clip, he says, you can't broadcast 97% negative coverage of somebody. Talking about ABC, I guess, other outlets, talking about him. But let's think. I understand that the FCC governance of certain, broadcasting institutions is different than their role in like a Fox News, but just the principle of it, because that's really what we're talking about here. Tell me what percentage you think of Fox News' coverage of Kamala Harris or of Biden was positive. You think it was more than 3% positive coverage about Kamala or Biden? So he says it like it's a principle. You just can't have 97% negative coverage of anyone, which he's kind of characterizing a lot of stories. Data about the economy, for example, he would classify that as negative. If CNN runs a story or ABC runs a story that's just economic data, he would say that's bad press for him. But it might just be accurate factual reporting with no opinion in it. But still, if you're going to justify this as a supporter of Trump, I'm not encouraging Democrats to do it, but you would be setting the precedent that it would be okay for Democrats to use this exact same logic and do some terrible, terrible things whenever they get back in power. Then Trump has brought up to him that he sued the New York Times, this insane lawsuit. It's just, you've been mean to me for a decade, essentially. Defamation or something. But a judge threw it out, and he doesn't seem to be aware of that.
And that's why I sued the New York Times 2 days ago for a lot of money. Because I'm winning. I mean, I'm winning the cases. And the reason I'm winning is because you're guilty, John. You're guilty. ABC is a terrible network, a very unfair network, and you should be ashamed of yourself. NBC is equally bad. I don't know who's worse. I think they're equally bad.
So he tried to play the same CBS game with the New York Times, which is you bring this punitive, abusive lawsuit of some exorbitant number. I think in his case, it was in the many of billions, but I'm forgetting the exact number. And then you use the fear of your government power to get them to settle it. And then that's why he keeps repeating, your network had to pay me. It's not because they actually believed that Trump was correct in his argument, but they know if you fight back and if you actually push back in the legal process, then he will, like he was doing to CBS, he will, and like was being threatened with the FCC and other networks, he'll punish you using his government authority. And we've seen that with law firms, and with now he's talking about just protesters shouting should justify them being in jail. Judge tosses Media reports Trump's lawsuit against New York Times in scathing order. A complaint is not a protected platform to rage. So he might bring that back and try to refile it, but that judge laughed at it about as much as we did. While we continue through this segment, please do click the subscribe button. I'm working on the last little ounce of fuel that I have. I've been debating with a bunch of Trump supporters all this morning, so apologies if I seem a little more tired. So as all this is happening, I would say a historic moment in American history where the president is overtly going after media outlets. He doesn't like overtly wanting to create criminal processes to punish protesters that he doesn't like. And what is Republican Congressman Randy Fine focused on? It's back, baby. He wrote, if we don't tackle this mental illness, this is what will be roaming our streets all across America. Leftism must be crushed. And for podcast listeners, I'll describe it's a video. I feel like I first saw this, Jaden, a year ago. They post it every time like it's a new video. It's a video of a human pretending to be a dog, and then a dog trainer having the human do a dog trick, and then people clapping. As I've said before, it was a good rollover. You can't deny that. You can't take that away from the dog or the human dog. It was good form as far as human dogs go. But I think this is so emblematic of our current political process. Another thing I brought up with the Trump supporters I just debated with is the right is so good at getting you to focus on the most obscure things. They rile you up into a moral panic, and then you don't realize they're robbing you blind or they're attacking key principles. Trump's big agenda item, the law he signed that rips away healthcare for millions of Americans while pushing wealth in the direction of the top 1%. While he's doing that to you and he's assaulting the First Amendment, Republicans are saying, look over here. And I always laugh because they say leftism. What is the left wing about this? Yeah, a video that is probably years old that y'all post constantly, which, Randy, what are you doing with this video? That's a question a lot of people are having. Why do you have this video, Randy? How long have you had this video? Download it to your computer, buddy. I hate that people pretend to be dogs. Why can't I? Ruff. It's not fair. The left gets to have all the fun, the gay and the dog pretending. But I don't know why it's always assumed to be a left-wing party. It looks like an animal festivity. But yeah, people do people things, or pet dog. My point is, people be funky. Okay, how it should be a focus of our political dialogue, I don't know. Then Trump keeps casually hinting that he wants to reinvade Afghanistan.
Mr. President, what goes into retaking Bagram? Does that require boots on the ground?
We'll see what happens with Bagram. We're talking to Afghanistan. It should have never been given up. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. There was no reason to give it up. I was leaving Afghanistan. I was leaving. I was the one that got it down to 5,000 soldiers, but we were going to keep Bagram.
We were leaving, but we never should have left. But we were leaving, but we never should have left. Sorry, I'm still thinking about Randy Fine watching this and being like, leftists are sick. Look at them. Look at them. They're just sick. Look at that. Look at how prominent that tushy is. God, I hate the left. God, I want to just crush the left. That's always how I picture these pent up Republicans looking at random videos of random nonsense. Anyways, but yeah, Trump is just soft launching an idea to go back to Afghanistan. Trump got really upset with a reporter.
Mr. President, when are you going to give details?
We're going to be going into New York too.
Mr. President,
and we're going to be going in quiet. You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm trying to ask you, what about your plans
You are
for
really
Memphis?
obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I am asking, what are your plans for Memphis? Many people want
I'm not going to talk to you until I call on you.
What are your plans for Memphis?
Who
Mr.
else?
President?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to...
Trump's looking pretty bleak. Pretty bleak indeed. I did notice, and I think it was this clip. Was it this clip? There was one clip where it must have been the next one where he starts. Okay, I don't think I can't find it, but where he like starts looking at his hand and he's like, is this still? Yeah, it's still looking rough. Then we'll play this one. I guess he was struggling to understand a reporter. She had an accent.
Other good things. So
Are the big techs on board with this, Mr. President?
What?
The big techs, are the big techs on board with this decision? You just
what's going to? Well, I wish you'd speak more clearly. I really do. Give it to me again.
I love how first of all he starts answering the question and then realizes he doesn't know the question. Like that proves how often when someone asks a question, he goes, "Never would have happened if I were president," and it doesn't really feel connected to the question. It's because a lot of times, like he tried there, he'll just answer it without even hearing. But then he had to go, you know what I would say about that is actually, what was the question? And then it goes further.
With this decision, you just
What's going to? Well, I wish you'd speak more clearly. I really do. Give it to me again.
Are the big techs, the CEOs on board with this decision?
Big techs?
Big techs. You talk to them about this?
Yeah, big tech. Yeah, it's big tech. It's every company. It's
Yeah.
big tech. It's big tech. It's big everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
the CEOs
It's a company. I said it's not a tech company. It's tech companies and everything else.
What is he even saying? Give it to me again. Are the big tech companies? Yeah, it's big tech. It's big tank. It's big tack. It's all of them. It's a big tic tac. It's a big TikTok. It's not big tech or not. Or yes, not big tech. It's all of them. Small tech, even. He had no idea. That's rough. Then, this is so interesting. Trump fired a U.S. attorney because they couldn't find evidence of wrongdoing by Letitia James. And so Trump fired him. That's the world we're in now. If Trump wants you to prosecute his political opponent and you can't build a case, he fires you.
James, are you disappointed that the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia has not prosecuted Letitia James? Do you intend to fire him?
Well, we're going to see what happens. I am not following it very closely. It looks to me like she's very guilty of something, but I really don't know. I know that the U.S. attorney from the Eastern District, or from that district in Virginia, that he was approved by 2 Democrat senators who, in my opinion, are among the worst.
Okay, this is crazy. So Trump expected to fire U.S. attorney who was unable to find evidence Letitia James committed mortgage fraud. This is Eric Seibert. This is not how our system is supposed to work. President Trump expected to fire U.S. Attorney Eric Seibert after Seibert's office was unable to find sufficient evidence that New York Attorney General Letitia James committed mortgage fraud. So he's going to replace Seibert with somebody who will, however contrived. Then, after saying there he wasn't keeping up with it, soon after that he posted that Seibert didn't quit, I fired him. He didn't quit, I fired him. I thought you just said you weren't keeping up with that much, but now he was very proud to announce that. Then he gets asked about Russia flying, was it planes? Yeah. Russian jets entered Estonia's airspace. We talked about this on the bonus show, and listen to Trump's response on that.
Russian jets entered Estonia's airspace today for 12 minutes. Do you see that as a threat to NATO?
Well, I'm going to have to look at it. They're going to be briefing me in a short while, so I'll let you know about it tonight or tomorrow.
What's your...
Why does he never know? This happened... We knew about it. I covered this. This press conference happened after I covered it on the bonus show, which means it had been reported for a while by then. How long does it take? I know he does press briefings like every 3 weeks, and they're 3 sketches and 1 word and positive affirmational statements about Trump. But it's strange you wouldn't know about such a provocative action by Putin. And what's so irritating is, I think maybe the reporters forget, Trump forgets, but I don't. They will ask him, what are you going to do about sanctions? What are you going to do about this, that? And he goes, I'll have to look at it. And then never circles back. It's never like, I just got done looking at the thing from yesterday and I wanted to speak on it. He never does that. And then this is interesting. Aaron Rapar says, Trump on if he'll campaign for Virginia Republicans. Let's see his response on that.
Secretary of the Treasury.
Quick follow-up. Today is the first day of early voting in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Are you planning on campaigning for Winston Sears, John Reed, or Jason Mayaris?
Well, I'm going to have to look at some of them. As you know, it's sort of a semi-local election. I've been watching it. I've been seeing the ads.
I would appreciate it as a Virginia voter.
Who do you like of the group? Who do you like?
The whole ticket, sir.
All of them? You like them? All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll take a very strong look.
Appreciate that.
For you, I'm going to look.
I was at a dinner with somebody talking about the fears that they have that Trump will stay in office past his term. And while he says that, he has pontificated about that, and that in and of itself is a danger, and we should take it seriously that he's acting like he would unconstitutionally stay in power past his term. I think he might get a little tired. My hope is he gets a little tired. Not just both of his hands, both of his feet, maybe also start having the same look. No, that sounds mean. Not really. You get the point. I'm just saying maybe he'll be tired, and then he won't really have the fire to try to stay in power for a third term. That's my hope. And then the question is, what would he do to cheat or to help whoever the Republican candidate was while he's still president during the campaign? And my thought is, in that case, his narcissism might save us. I think, like you heard him there, he doesn't care about helping the Republican Party at large. That maybe once it's not his name on the ballot, he won't be that interested in doing much, leveraging his power to help JD. Like, do we really think he's gonna risk stuff to help JD? I don't see it, and my hope is that's what will save us. Truly.